Welcome back to this week's video. So this week's video is going to be on alignments. It is very cold outside. It's been a lot of bad weather over the past month or so. Cars are getting beat up, so it's created a lot of opportunity for us and alignments. And I want to talk about that a little bit. Maybe some of us are doing really well, and maybe some of us have some opportunity. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So why do we sell alignments? Well, first off, there's a lot of need for alignments out there, and we're going to talk a lot about that. They're also high profit, high GP, they're mostly labor, relatively easy for us to do, and they're relatively easy to sell, and we're going to talk about how to sell them today. Why do customers buy alignments? Well, they buy alignments because they can easily tell when they need one. In a lot of cases, they know when their steering wheel's crooked and it needs alignment. They know when the vehicle pulls down the road, they probably need an alignment. They know when their tires are wearing out prematurely, they probably need an alignment. Every once in a while, people come in thinking they need alignment when their vehicle's shaking. So that gives an opportunity for us to, steer them in the right direction, give them a different type of inspection and let them know that that isn't an alignment issue. But that just points out the fact that it's one of those things that customers recognize and they know there's a need for it. So they're more open to buying alignments because of all of the different reasons why that they can recognize themselves that they might need one. So, wheel alignments, it all starts with recognizing why one needs to be done or creating a need after inspecting a vehicle. So obviously if a customer approaches you and they need an alignment, that's an easy one for us. All we have to do at that point is offer a free inspection, find out what's going on with the vehicle, the alignment needs, and then explain to the customer. When we see a need, that's also not a difficult one. There's lots of things that we see out there. We're replacing a tire. We see a set of tires, one tire, doesn't matter. If we see tires that are worn out that maybe they don't need to be replaced, but they're worn funny, then probably another need right there. If we're replacing a steering suspension component, maybe it's been a couple of years since somebody's had one. Maybe it's something as far-fetched as they've had their engine replaced and things have been settled in differently, and we need to just make sure everything is tracking down the road properly. So there's lots of reasons why a customer might need one, and so at that point, our job is to offer that alignment or at least offer that free inspection for them. So what are the benefits to a customer for doing alignment? Well, the benefits are they protect their investment on their tires. They have a better handling car, safer for them. Affects the braking, so the brakes work like they're supposed to because the vehicle's tires are touching the road properly. It can be a more comfortable ride for them as well. Also it feels nice when your steering wheel is tracking down the road properly and the vehicle's not pulling off to the side. Education. So one of the main things that we have to do when we're trying to convince somebody to do an alignment, or at least convincing them to take care of their alignments on a regular basis, is education. But it needs to be explained in simple terms. We cannot get too technical with them, nor could I get too technical with you about it anyway, but we don't want to get too technical with them. So I've got a quote here on a simple explanation that I want to share with everyone. I'm going to read it to you about what you could say to a customer to explain to them what an alignment is and why it needs to be done. So this quote is from Greg Marchand. He was a trainer. Some of you might recognize his name. He came to one of our managers' conventions a few years ago and did some training with us. An alignment makes sure that steering and suspension parts are in the right place for factory designed handling, ride comfort, tire wear, and braking. So think about that for a second. That makes sense, right? So you explain that to a customer, you say those words to a customer, they're going to understand that yes, I do need an alignment and I do want those things to work, so it's our job to make sure that we say those things to them, and we also don't downplay, the alignments are not that big a deal, because alignments are very important. Alignments are important for those very reasons. So there's another thing that we need to be thinking about also on alignments. Alignments are important as well to some of the newer cars out there. A lot of newer cars have steering angle sensors. And so if the vehicle isn't driving straight because the alignment's off, the steering angle sensor doesn't recognize the vehicle's driving straight, and that can throw things off with the computer. It can either set off a light or the car can act up funny. And as cars are getting newer and newer, these things are going to come more and more into play. So a challenge for all of us. So the challenge obviously is to sell more alignments, okay? But how? Okay, first of all, we need to be recognizing those opportunities. They are everywhere. We discuss them. Customers know they need alignments. We find reasons that customers need alignments. We need to be recognizing those. We need to be talking with our technicians, and we need to be listening to our technicians when they tell us vehicles need alignments. We need to educate ourselves. We need to educate ourselves on alignments as much as possible. We need to go out and talk to our technicians, and we need to understand what toe is. We need to understand what camber is. We need to ask our technicians questions about alignments. If our technicians aren't up to date on that, we need to make sure that they're getting some training on why alignments need to be done to make sure that our customers are being taken care of properly. We also need to educate ourselves each time with each customer's car and find out their individual needs, because every situation is a little bit unique. So you need to go find out what's wrong with that car and explain it to the customer about their specific car instead of always speaking in generalities. So we need to, and whenever you're selling alignments, just like any other item, we've talked about this before, you need to create a selling method that works for you. Maybe you use that spiel that Greg Marchand uses, which I'll share with you guys later. Maybe you talk about the green and the red on the screen. Maybe you say it in your own terms. As long as it's said in a way that is accurate and it makes sense to the customer and it works, then that's what I want you to use. If you're saying something to the customer that isn't working, you need to move on to try something different. Tweak it. So anyway, main thing with all of just about anything that we sell, with alignments as well, is we have to ask for the sale. If you don't ask for the sale, you're not going to get it. If you just discard the alignment as not being important, or you just discard it as they're probably not going to do it anyway, then we aren't going to sell it. So my biggest challenge to all of you is to go out and ask for the sales on those alignments. All right, call me if you have any questions. I'm excited about this one. This is a really good one for GP, labor for your technicians. So go out there and let's kick some butt with alignments. Thank you very much.